Yamamai. Oh, 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 oh. Boom, boom, ba, boom, bam, ba, boom, bam, ba, boom, bam, boom, ba, ba, dum, bum, boom, bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam.
Okay. Yeah. Excuse me just a second. So we are towards the bottom of page Hay, 7 lines from the bottom. The line starts with Bo koyach godol yeshem so boruhu lahabis mi'ayin leyesh. שזה עניין נוס כנוסם בספר. The overall point is, the exact point that we are currently discussing, is that the Kav carries the Koyach Ha'atzmos, even throughout its tributary, so to speak, even all the way into the individual spheres, which is like the sub-conduits. And this is evidence in the fact that it maintains an interconnection amongst all the spheres and between the Hamatzi. And the connection is not just peripheral, that it comes from there, but the connection is a present connection. They all represent this one principal truth in all kinds of different ways as it comes out through the measurements provided by the Kav. But they all basically represent the same thing. This is the interconnection and connection all the way to the top. And this extends itself all the way to the very end of the Atzilus, and the very lowest Madrigi, which is the Malchus. And then he points out that actually at the very end, in Malchus, this connection with the Oiris of Hamachi, with the topmost, with the Atzmus, is even more evidence than in the other places, than in the other Madrigas. Because in the other Madrigas, you have, each Madriga has its particular inyan. In Malchus, what comes out, what is noticed, is more its effect is that it is able to create me'ayin liyesh, and becomes a shayla shemokir libiyah, which means that within Atzilus there's already the sense of biyah, of bria. We discussed yesterday this implication that brio Atzilus, this is wild. This is all clearly related to the Oyer. Brio is already a creation from the Oyer, which is essentially the Metzias. Like yesterday, we used the illustration from sunlight, that there is a light element, and then there is the actual energy, which also has an element of light in an energy form. The effect of it is light. This is what we discussed yesterday. Zeu inyan knows hilosam b'sefer. And we pointed out in the Moshel also in the light that the fact that you have not just pure light, but you have light that illuminates Gashmi, that brings out the visible out of within the tangible. The tangible and the visible are in different categories completely. They're categorically apart. Tangible is an entity unto itself and speaks only of itself. The visible is just the opposite. It has no self. It is part of the entire panorama. And this is what we have in the end of the whole kav. That it goes to the tangible, to the biyah, and creates yesh miyayin. Yesh miyayin. Again, we discussed yesterday. Yesh miyayin represents a koyach eliki of etzem, of a reality unto itself, without the need of explaining what is it about and what is it for, where is it coming from. V'gam yesh leimar, it can also be said, because the Rebbe is now focused still on the Inyan from Los Chalosim B'Seifim, on the Inyan that in Malchus shows even the greater connection to Ein Sof HaMatzil than in the previous spheres, because of the due to the manifest in the fact that it creates Yesh Miyayin. Now this is also the Inyan where the Ramban writes, Shedehi imohem be'achdus, v'loi ba'atzilus. That Malchus is imohem with all the spheres be'achdus, in union, v'loi ba'atzilus, but not really part of Atzilus. Huva b'shalot, taflamet heyem edalef. This is the Ramban is brought down in Shalot. By the way, the Ramban is we all know him as Nicholas, but the Ramban actually wrote on Kabbalah also. The Ramban and the Raavad. B'shom nira hakavona, and there in this Shalom, and his brother Mizan, the Ramban, it appears that the kavona is the koi al binyan hamalchus b'bchinas es. That this inyan that is not within Atzilus Malchus, he's referring to the inyan of Binyan HaMalchus, of the building of the complete structure of Malchus, B'Bchinas Esas Spheres. That Malchus is itself be built up with all 10 spheres. She'ein B'Bchinas Atzilus. This Binyan HaMalchus, when the Malchus develops into Esas Spheres, is Zeina B'Bchinas Atzilus, is not in an Atzilus aspect. Shaharei Netz lo rag B'Bchinas Nekuda. Since that Malchus, Netz lo, the Atzilus element in Malchus, is only a Nekuda. Without a complete conjugation of Esas Spheres. V'habinyan, and yet Malchus is built with all the Esas Spheres. There's Chochma Sheba Malchus, all the way down to Malchus Sheba Malchus. This binyan, Malchus itself does not, unless the expression in Chassidus, in Kabbalah, Malchus lesle megar mo klum. Malchus does not have anything of its own. Therefore, Habinyan, this conjugation of the Malchus, is mehasfira shelemayla mimeno keneido. Comes from the spheres that are above Malchus. Comes from the spheres as they are part of Atzilus. V'kol mokoim, and yet still, harei hi imohem be'achdus. Malchus is united with the upper spheres. Then comes the levushim in AyinBase. Just like the turtle that has a garment, but the garment is not separate, an additional entity to the body. It is in of itself. Malchus is like the garment, and in this garment are expressed all the 10 spheres, and it is in perfect union with them. Clearly, we're not going to too deeply into this. It's, the principle is to understand, and if need be, we'll go into it. But right now, just the principle is to understand that Malchus has an element. There's a Madrege in Malchus where it is already outside of the Atzilus. That is when Malchus becomes a complete structure unto itself. That is outside the Atzilus. And where does it get its ingredients? From the Esher spheres above it in Atzilus. So it is a separate Mitzias, and yet it is a garment. Then comes in levushim in AyinBase. This entire phenomenon that you can have something as a Mitzias, and yet totally united with the Oir, is due to the Atzmus element that flows through the Oir. In the Maimah Shcherani it is explained, the Koi, that this refers to Al Bechinas HaMalchus Kshenasis Atik Libriya. That this Inyan, that then comes to the levushim in AyinBase, and that it is Achdus with the spheres, that this refers to the Malchus. Till now we spoke about Malchus itself, that it becomes a separate Mitzias within Atzilus. I was saying that in Shcherani we said that this is the Malchus Shenasis Atik Libriya. Then Malchus actually provides for the Atik for Bria. She'eino yimohem ba'atzilus, because at that point Malchus is not together with the other spheres within Atzilus. Briefly, what does this mean, that Malchus becomes Nas Atik Bria? Just as in Atzilus, we already learned that there is the Keser, and then there is the 10 spheres, Chochmah on down. The Keser consists of two madreges. It's called Atik and Arich. Atik is the higher level within the Keser itself, and then Arich. And the primary difference is, if we would try to just express the concept of Keser, of the Keser. Keser is the transitional moment between the creator and the created. And thus, it actually contains and represents both, but it represents both on this transitional state. Atik, the term Atik is represented in many different translations. Atik means Atik Yomin, which means that which is above days, removed from days. And Atik also represents Ha'atokas or Atzmus, means a copy of Atzmus. It's a copy of Atzmus within the realm of of Gilui. So therefore, Atik represents the etzem, the source, at that state where it provides for the etzem, for Atzmus, that it should be reflected in the creation. Then there is Arich. Arich, this is already where the spheres are contained within the Kesed itself. That's called Arich. And Arich, Ze'er Ampin and Arich Ampin. Ze'er Ampin, this is the way the spheres are in Atzilus, because the word Ze'ir means the small faces, the small modes, and Arich Ampin means the great faces, the great mode. The great mode is how the spheres are contained within their source. So this is already the second, so to speak, the second level, and the lower level within Kesed itself. Just as we speak about in the person, we speak about two levels of makifim. So we speak about oineg and rotzin. Oineg and rotzin are really both makifim, and both represent the actual nefesh. The difference between them is that oineg is the representation of the nefesh as it is experienced within the nefesh itself. Rotzin is a representation of the nefesh as it can be observed by chokhmah, by seichel, and by the outside. It is still nefesh, but it is being observable, so to speak. This is the atik and arich. So, thus as in Atilus there is atik, which is the presence of the Creator as it is relating to Atzilus. Similarly, when it comes to Bria, there is also an Atik. At every madrege, in every level, there has to be a sense where this level is coming from. This is the principle of Seder Hishtalshelus. There are two principles in the Hishtalshelus. One principle of Seder Hishtalshelus is where the upper level is mislabish in the lower level, where it can relate to. And then the other principle of Seder Hishtalshelus is where the upper level encompasses and surrounds the lower level and gives the lower level a basis for presence. This is the Atik element. So Bria, despite the fact that it becomes a Metzias, Bria is a creation, it does not, it is a Metzias and it functions with its own koiches and its own, despite that, it functions within a context. This is the Atik. The moshel for this that we can clearly relate to is we always speak about the fact that the human being stands on 2 feet, which means a human being is an independent entity. He carries himself. He carries himself, but he carries himself within the context of the mokim of the world. He carries himself not in nothingness. He carries himself within the godly presence in the world. This is the Atik element that provides for whatever occurs within the world. Okay, whatever we caught on to, we caught on to, but this is the extent to which we're going to dig into this. Just one that we should have a sense of what we are talking about. To whatever degree. Okay. So he says Atzilus becomes Atik for Bria. Bria is a creation. and as, so to speak, as standalone mitzvahs. It cannot stand alone in the absolute sense. It can function within its own within its own understanding, within its own level, but it has to have the sense that there is a greater reality that surrounds it. Then it can function within on its own. This is the attic that encompasses the Bria, and it encompasses the entire Abiyah, Bria, Biyah, the entire structure of the three worlds, Bria, Tzir, Asiyah. We can think of it in our experience in terms of a person moves around the globe, and as we speak all the time, that he goes from one part of the world to a totally different part of the world. The earth, as small as it is, its variety is endless. And move from one part of the world to another part of the world, and it's a completely, totally different environment. You think you're in a different world. What is similar? Everywhere that you go? The sky. This is what provides a sense of the context.
The sky is just like a keli, a tangible of for mocking. Mocking is the primary universal element wherever we go. It's more than sky.
The mokoim is within the sky. This is an important principle. We discussed it, maybe not to the extent, but we did discuss it. So there is a mokim, there is cholo the mokim ponu. Cholo means emptiness. A person could never venture into emptiness, but he can venture into mokim ponu, into available space. Available space means that this is a space within a context, and it's available. It could be great. It could be infinite. Okay, let's finish this little piece. So even though this is the Malchus that is outside of Atzilus, we're on the last line of the page. It is the Atik, the Bria, so it's not part of Atzilus. It already relates to Bria, to an entity, an independent, separate entity, which Atzilus does not bear such a presence. Yet still he b'bchinas achdus imohem. Malchus is still b'bchinas achdus imohem, is in achdus form with the upper spheres. She'arei, since that hakav me'oirei soif, the kav, which is drawn from the Oirei Soif, and it continues to represent the Oirei Soif, Boka imohem, Haparsa. It breaks through together with the spheres and with the spheres that are in Malchus. Haparsa, the Parsa, this curtain that separates Atzilus from Bria. Umlubos bahem bibiyah, and then the Kav is melubos in the spheres in Biyah, k'moi ba'atzilus mamash. Even as it is in Atzilus mamash. If the Kav is melubos bahem bibiyah k'moi ba'atzilus mamash, what is the difference between the way between Atzilus and Biyah? So the point over here is that in Atzilus it is Begilui, and in Biyah it is Behelam. But in Biyah, but it's Melubosh, K'moi ba'Atzilus Mamash. The difference between the way the Inyan, the Inyanim, and the Lakus in the world were in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, when Lakus was Megillah, and the time of the Golus, where Lakus is Behel, is not in the actual presence of the Lakus. The difference is the awareness and the Gilui. In the time of the Golus, it says that even Oises Umeifsim, even the miracles where Malakus manifests itself, and it is actually guiding and interfering with the entire goings on in the world, Lo Yinu, we are not aware, we don't see it. Whereas in time of Hamikdash, this was evident. So the Kav is Melubish in Moh Bibiyah K'moi ba'Atzilus Mamash in full reality as in Atzilus. Atzilus, clearly that's Olam Ha'oleki. Biyah is also Olam Ha'oleki. But it is Melubish in a camouflage where it cannot be seen. And what you see is the Bria, is the Metzias of the King. V'nimtzo, and thus it comes out, Hakav hu mekasher u'miyached b'chinas hamalchus imein esoy boru. That the Kav binds and unites the Malchus aspect with Oyer esoy boru, gam k'moi shehi b'chinas atik dibriyo. Even as the Malchus is a Atik Debriya, which means it's already outside of the Kav, essentially. Kav is Ayin Soif. This is an Atzilus and the Kav. But nevertheless, it continues on in a camouflaged way all the way into Briya. Even when it becomes Atik Debriya. Yesh Hefresh Be'efen HaYisagdus, but there's a difference in this Agdus unity between the Kav and Oyer Sof, as is united with Atzilus and Bria, versus Bria. Shari B'Atzilus is bechinas keach reino l'shem Havaya. In Atzilus, it is literally part of the Shem Havaya, part of the Lakus presence of Atzilus. This is the Keach Reino, Shem Havaya. Yud Kei Vav Kei is the entire structure of the 10 spheres. Yud is Chochma, Kei is Bina, Vav is the 6 midas, and the last Kei is Malchus. So it is part of the Shem Havaya, Mamash, part of the same of Lakus. Whereas in Bria, he becomes a separate Metzias. So this is what is the effect of the Kav, to maintain connection and unity amongst all the various aspects and all the various madrigas. And clearly, just one point, as it would manifest in terms of our orientation. This interconnectedness and unity, this is what provides for us the ability to Avodas Hashem and to recognize Hashem's presence in to recognize and to understand and to relate to Hashem's presence in our midst. Despite the fact that our primary orientation is within world, and everything seems to be world dependent, the interaction between worldly aspects, this is what we see. All that is really imbued and is affected as a result of the godly presence in the world, and which is there and do it with the Kav. One word, the godly presence in the world, the way we look at it from the world perspective, what makes us aware of it is only from the negative. Since the world could not exist on its own, therefore there has to be godliness. We don't see godliness directly from that perspective. We only see it as a result of the negativity and the shortcoming and the short quality of world. In truth, however, there is a positive godly presence in the world, and this is what we have in terms of Avodas Hashem. If the mitzvahs of godliness in the world were only as a result of the insignificance of the world, of the negativity, so then you would still live in the world, only worldly orientation, but what maintains is God. But this is not how we live. We relate directly to Hashem, we daven, we make the mitzvahs and all that. That means that there is a positive presence. This is all due to this Agdus that comes with the cloud. And this is it for this morning. And we'll reconvene in Mitzvah again tomorrow for further insights. Further Chassidus. Seid gesund, have a good day.
Jonathan, do you know Yeshua Marenfeld, he moved?
Boom 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 ba ni na ni na 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 ni na na ni na 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 ni na na ni na 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 ni na na ni na down down ni na ni na down down ni na ni down 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 no ni na 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 ni na ni na 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 ni na ni na no, 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 ni na, ni na, ni na, no, 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 ni na, ni na, ni na, no, 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 ni na, ni na, ma, ma.